Welcome to the Candle Business Coach podcast. I'm your host, Kirsty Allen, and I am the Candle Business Coach. I'm also a mum of three and a kindness advocator. This podcast is all about making and selling candles, business development, and mindset, delivered to you with advice, inspiration, and motivation in a new episode every Friday. This episode is brought to you by the membership for candle makers, the Candle Makers Collective. Becoming a member gives you access to fortnightly online group Q&A coaching sessions to support you, monthly online workshops and trainings to help you grow your business, plus frequent expert guest speakers to inspire and teach you. You'll also have access to an ever-growing resource library with templates, guides, planners, and ebooks. But my favorite aspect of the membership is our exclusive Facebook group for accountability, connection, and support. So if you're looking to take your candle business to the next level and learn more about the membership for candle makers, click the link in the show notes for the Candle Makers Collective. Welcome back to the podcast, my friend. Today we have two special guests on the podcast, and I'm so excited to introduce you all to Gina and George. Now, guys, you have had an incredible 12 months in your business, and I'm so excited to chat to you both tonight to deep dive into what your journey's been like, how it all began, and how you have found such success so quickly. And I know it's due to your hard work and your incredible efforts. So let's dive into it. But first, I would love if you could both share a little bit about yourselves.
I'm Gina and
I'm George.
We are the faces and the makers behind Aretii Naturals. So we launched our business on the 8th of December last year, so 2023, and it has definitely been a whirlwind of 12 months. We have 4 products. We have
for the most part, yes.
Yeah, so we have our candles, room sprays, wax melts, and we finally introduced reed diffusers last week. So it's all about us. We're based in Sydney, but we love to travel.
And I'm going to put George on the spot here. Can you share your journey into how you and Gina became the amazing duo that you are in business?
Well, in short, just over a year ago, we were discussing the idea of starting a business. It led with one idea that changed into another idea that became Aretii Naturals, what it is now. A candle manufacturer that is putting home fragrance out for everyone.
So tell us a little bit about the meaning behind your business name. Where did it come from and what does it mean to you both?
So we're both of Greek heritage, and so Aretii in ancient Greek meaning is striving for excellence. So in not only in everyday life, but particularly with our products, striving to put products out there that
are the best we possibly can.
Yeah, and just continuing to improve.
And that's one of the things, like when you first start your candle making journey, at any stage during your journey, like you are doing the best you can do. But as you begin to learn more knowledge, you begin to try new things, show a bit of curiosity and keep growing. The products you produce will naturally get better and better. So even though what you've created right now is incredible, I can only imagine how much better they're going to be in 6 months, 12 months, 2 years, 5 years, and how much more success you'll find with people just falling in love with what you're creating.
Yeah, definitely. I actually put up a reel on Instagram yesterday showcasing our first 12 months of market stalls and pop-ups, and even something so simple as our display, how much it's evolved in the last 12 months, where we used to have stickers on our display boards and now we have nice stands in front of each fragrance. It's just, it's that constant striving for not perfection, but improvement and excellence.
Which totally ties into your business name and your brand, not just the business, but your own personal values as well.
Yeah.
Now, you started your business journey 12 months ago. We can imagine that there's been some highs and some lows. Let's start off with the lows and then lead into the highs. What have been some challenges for you both so far?
One of my challenges would be getting a shipment of jar orders where the lids didn't fit onto the jars and having to, well, not me, but George having to figure out a way to actually make that work. So I think that's one of the most challenging things for me.
How many jars was it?
720.
And I'm laughing, but I can just imagine how it's not funny. I don't know why I'm laughing. How did you figure that out?
It's hilarious.
It is hilarious.
Highly
Like
amusing.
oh,
So, in short, the seal and the inside of the lid was slightly oversized, and with a little bit of cutting down of the rubber seal, silicon seal, whatever it is, we were able to actually just get them to fit comfortably so that it was easily removable and put back on. Prior to that,
wow.
they wouldn't fit at all.
And I'm laughing because right before we joined the call, there's one here that I couldn't actually open because it was a bit too tight, and it was one of those ones. So, yeah, that
Wow.
was frustrating and challenging, and it's just that there are no problems. There's only solutions. What are we going to do to fix it?
Absolutely. And sometimes we get extra challenges to really get to test our patience, which is part of the journey. In terms of your success and the direction that you're going, share with us some of your biggest wins in your business.
From my perspective, it's, the repeat customers, especially now that we're seeing more and more of them, the smiles you see on their faces, the fact that they're willing to come back and spend more to appreciate your product is what really makes it for me. I think it makes it for both of us, but seeing that consistency of returning business and customer is huge, because at the end of the day, you've got a quality product. And the more they tell you about it, the more it drives you to produce that same quality and better. And that's what we're aiming for. We're aiming to produce a product that everyone's enjoying, everyone's satisfied with, and they know that we're going to continually be consistent with it.
So, one of my highlights would be exhibiting at the Mind Body Spirit Festival. So, we've done that 3 times now, and we're booked in for another 3 next year. Having one particular customer that was just we do markets around where she lives, and we're stocked around where she lives, and she had seen us there, but she came back specifically to the Mind Body Spirit Festival just to buy from us again, which was pretty amazing. And last weekend we had a lady come from Sydney we had a market at Shell Cove, and she came from Sydney. She literally lives around the corner from where we live. She came down just to buy the new reed diffusers that we had launched. So it's,
wow.
I think that's one of my biggest highlights, very similar to George's, is those repeat customers. It's just, I think that's what makes it all worthwhile.
At the end of the day, every customer is valued. It's just, you get that appreciation from the customers that are coming back telling you how good the product is. For the ones that buy one time because they're visiting or they just happen to be in the area at the time and they're enjoying the fact that there's something new and unique there, you don't get to see them again. You don't know if they're going to ever reorder online or ever see you. So you don't know what the feedback is from those people.
Mm-hmm.
So it's good to see that feedback from the customers that do return.
Absolutely. And it's so reassuring, and it validates the products that you're making when you know that your customers are loving them so much that they're willing to travel to come and see you and to buy, new products that have been launched or to replenish products that they've had previously. And it gives you, as I said, that validation. But as you said earlier, George, it also gives you that motivation just to keep striving for more, keep striving for more excellence, keep producing incredible products. And when your customers are telling you how much they love your products, there truly is nothing better in business.
Yeah, agreed.
100%.
What would you have said 12 months ago would have been one of your goals for your business?
To survive the first year.
Yeah, that's real. That's fair.
Yeah.
To be fair.
Yeah. I think to have sold maybe not 100 candles, but maybe 1,000. We had set some financial goals back then, and we've totally smashed them, which is amazing.
Yes, I love that. What would you say are some of your goals now, 12 months into the business?
So I know I have a pretty outrageous goal. I want to 2.5 times what we've done for the first year.
Amazing.
Just a little bit over double would be awesome.
Hopefully one of us being able to go full-time on the business within the next 12 months would be unreal as well, because it would take the pressure off us in terms of still working full-time and basically doing this business full-time as well. So having the ability to have somebody on it full-time within the next 12 months would be awesome.
Because it's just the two of you in the business, isn't it?
That's
Correct.
right.
Yeah. So it's not like you've outsourced different tasks in terms of actually making the products. But for the listeners that don't know, are you both working full-time?
Yes.
Well, I recently dropped a day, so we've gotten to the point where I was able to drop a day of work. So I'm now working 4 days a week and 1 day purely on the business. And then on the weekends, we do markets. So in the last 5.5 months, had 4 days off. total.
It's such a reality, isn't it? Running a small business and having markets on weekends, because they can be on Saturdays and Sundays. So it's very much in this growth phase of your journey, wanting to get as much exposure as possible and be out into the market and marketplaces as much as possible. Just before we hit record on this episode, we were talking about some other episodes on the podcast, and you were saying that you've experienced a little bit of burnout. So do you want to share a bit of your experience with that?
Yeah, definitely. So funny enough, your podcast on burnout came out the week that I was starting to go through it, or probably a few days after I was starting to go through it. And my burnout was a mixture of extreme fatigue, brain fog, exhaustion. I would get here to what we call our HQ, our headquarters, where we now work from. And I would just sit there and not want to move and have no motivation. I wouldn't be able to think. And it was just like, not what are we doing this for, but it was just like, I can't even explain it. Just pure exhaustion. No amount of sleep was enough. Granted, we weren't getting much sleep. Yeah, it's great to be on the other side of that now.
I'd love to know, George, what was your experience seeing Gina go through that?
It was probably both of us experiencing that, and we both basically hit the wall at full steam ahead, and we needed just some time off, and where we wanted to try and do a market for a weekend that we hadn't booked in leading into this end of year period. We both basically said, no, let's leave it alone and let's just get some rest. Even though we still ended up working, it was at a slower pace, something that we're more settled with. So we both kind of supported each other through it in a way that was beneficial. We both got earlier nights. We relaxed a bit more and we took the pressure off and took the pedal off just to kind of recover.
Yeah, we basically had a goal every night to try and be out of here by like 9:30 at the latest, which is still, 4-5 hours solid of working on the business, but it was. And I think we both dealt with it very differently. But like I said, we kind of supported each other. When I wasn't in the right headspace, he would just roll with it. When he wasn't in the right headspace, I'd just roll with it.
It's so important to have that support when you are feeling the effects of overwhelm or burnout or stress, like, this high level of stress. But not everyone has that support in their own business. So what do you think you would have done if you didn't have each other during that time? Like, how would you have taken care of yourself, or would you have relied on family and friends?
I guess everyone's situation is different, and depending on if they have people around them. For us, I know my mum, like I was asking her even just to do a load of washing or to cook a meal. Even we get meal prep now just to cut out time on cooking, but it's just little things like that. And just taking time to just do nothing, taking a bath and lighting your candle and just unwinding. Yes, it is different for everyone, but our parents have been super supportive and just helping in little ways like that.
So important to have that outside support when you are in the fog of burnout and just feeling so overwhelmed and just at that point of exhaustion, because sometimes you can't pull yourself out of it, or you can't really see a way out of it. So I'm really glad that you both had each other and had the support of your parents as well.
Thank you. So
Well, I think one small thing, we started kind of revisiting where we started and where we had come to at that point, which is only just recently, mind you, but we started revisiting our earlier months and sales and started realizing that everything that we've been doing so far is extremely well, and it's, it calls you back into the right space. And maybe that's something for others to consider, if you're hitting burnout, maybe look back on where you were and look forward on where you've come to and see that, if you're making progress and it's all heading in the right direction, it's worth it. You just need to take a step back and relax for that period of time. If it needs to be, a week or a month, do it. Get yourself back on the straight and narrow and realize you are heading in the right direction.
Yeah, and revisiting your why.
Absolutely. If you don't know why you're doing what you're doing and you're just going through the motions, you will get to a point where you think, what am I doing this for? What is the purpose of all this? But if you've got direction, if you've got ambitions and motivation in a certain direction, it helps to propel you forward when that momentum might not necessarily be there, when that motivation might not necessarily be there. But considering that you both work 5 days and 4 days, so we'll say full time, how do you complete everything to do with the business? How do you find time? I'm assuming you're not watching a lot of TV.
We used to in the first 6 months.
We used to, because we used to work out of my home. One of our biggest downfalls was Netflix.
And distractions in general.
And distractions. So we would sit and eat dinner and watch Netflix just to zone out for a bit.
And then 3 hours later, realize that we've got nothing.
So now we don't have a TV in our workspace. So there is no distraction. It's making lists. I'm very much a list maker, so I need to have it written down. We have a nice whiteboard with everything that we need to pour, and we revisit that every couple of weeks and just go from there.
So basically, in short, she's the list maker. She writes down everything we need to do. I just get it done.
Pretty much.
Yes, I love that. And that's what makes you guys such a perfect duo, because you're utilizing each other's strengths and creating something incredible that perhaps if you were both doing it alone, you wouldn't necessarily see the success that you're currently experiencing. But combined, it's just an explosive
100%.
business that you've got. But tell me, what is your favorite thing about what you do?
For me personally, it's seeing the expressions on people's faces. So especially those that have come up to the stand for the first time, or seeing our ranges, we like to put it to them for the first time. It's a bit of a mind boggle to them because we have so many fragrances to choose from firstly, but then as they start to smell them and take everything in, everyone is reminded of something different. So when you start hearing from them what it reminds them of, be it, in some cases, as one of our fragrances smells like red frogs, even though we call it champagne red berries, it smells like red frogs to most people, or Redskins or Skittles. It's that smile and interest from people when they start seeing it, taking it in. We enjoy looking at it. We enjoy seeing people do fun. We want to do action scam.
Yeah, we haven't gotten around to it yet, but that is something that I want to set up. I'm a very creative person. So for me, I absolutely love people's feedback and reactions. And whenever someone walks past our stand, they're like, oh my gosh, that smells amazing. We'll turn around and we'll go, oh, thank you. They'll turn around and look at us like, oh, they heard us. But we never get tired of that. It's the best compliment that you can give us. But being a creative person, I absolutely love our workspace and pouring, whether it be candles or room sprays or wax melts, whatever it is. It's especially when we bring out new fragrances. Absolutely love it.
You often have music playing in the background just to get in the zone, or perhaps a podcast by a certain candle business playing as
No, I want my podcast listening is in the car on the way to work so that I can focus.
Yes, love that.
We've got our Bluetooth speaker in here. That is the first thing we do. We put on our pump up music and we just get to it, and it just flows.
Literally, like the liquid wax into the jars. Like the candles that you're making, the energy flows and you're getting things done.
It does.
Are you ready for personalised support for your candle making journey? Hi there, my friend. I'm Kirsty Allen, the Candle Business Coach, and I help candle makers like you with mindset and business strategy, as well as troubleshooting your candle making struggles. With my private coaching, we'll work together to set and achieve your goals. And whether you need a single session for clarity or a series of sessions for ongoing support, I'm here to help you every step of the way. Check out the show notes for details of my private coaching sessions and packages, and let's achieve your goals one candle at a time. What gives you motivation to keep going when things get tough?
I'm going to use a piece of feedback that I got on Sunday from a customer. The first time she visited our store was about 6 weeks earlier with her sister. And she was a bit hesitant because we have wood wicks. So she's like, oh, I'm not sure. Do the wood wicks actually burn? And her sister had previously bought from us and was returning to buy again. And we thought they were just friends at the time. Anyway, so her sister's like, yeah, they're amazing. So she came back on Sunday and she goes, oh, I was really hesitant when I first bought. She goes, but I'm so obsessed with your candles now. They're just amazing. So thinking of that feedback and receiving messages on Instagram, on Monday we got one that our bestseller is absolutely amazing. Thank you for the recommendation. That is just motivation to keep going. Late nights, doesn't matter. Just think of that feedback. Think of, it's amazing.
What about you, George? What gives you motivation to keep going?
She stole my idea of what I wanted to say. For me, I'm putting the feedback aside. It's also the drive to want to make the business grow and for us to have the ability to do this full time. We've got 3 stands that I'm looking at outside, and whilst they look full, they're also mostly empty. So much, we have to get done. And at the same time, I look at that as my drive to continue. The empty spaces, I'm a bit of an OCD person, so I like to see them full, which never happens. But it's the idea of bringing the joy to people to come up when they have purchased and then take it home, realize how good the quality of the product is, and seeing them come back for more just because they do enjoy it and they do want to come and pay us a visit. And we like that person-to-person interaction at the stand, which is why we like seeing them come back. We get to have that chat. They get to give us the feedback. We ramble on about other things that aren't even business related just because we have that connection with people over time. And it's fun. I mean, that's the end of the day what you want business or work to be. You want it to be fun. And that's what we strive for.
That's so true. One of my favorite sayings is, when you love what you do, you never work a day in your life.
Although you guys do work pretty dang hard.
Yeah,
but like you said, you love it. Like you love it. It's fun. It's a way to tap into that creativity, like you said, Gina, and just to enjoy, being in that space together, creating candles, creating a business, growing an empire, which is, I mean, is it unfair to say that you're already well on your way to growing your empire?
Definitely.
I don't want to get a big head in saying that, but we'd like to hope so.
We don't take our first 12 months in business lightly at all to achieve what we have achieved, which is mostly really since July. Like our first 7 months in business were good. And then we had a conversation in June and we're like, all right, let's give this our all for the next 6 months and see what can come of it. And we
basically hit the ground running and didn't stop until recently when we hit the wall.
Yeah.
Yeah, when your body said, I need a break.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
But it showed in that next 6 month period from the time we started that it is all going in the right direction. For 6 months, whilst it was slow, it was leading us to where we needed to be. And once we put our foot down, basically, it's showing us that there is a lot of potential.
It's so interesting seeing and hearing how successful you have been, both with the number of products that you're selling, the number of customers that are returning, the financial success, all the different elements. But what I love about both of you is that you're humble and yet you're so proud in like a really beautiful way. Like you acknowledge the successes that you've had, and yet it's not going straight to your head. You know that there's so much more of the journey ahead of you, which is what excites you and motivates you to keep going. But you also still have your feet on the ground to know that where you've come from in this short time is not to be taken for granted.
Yeah, definitely. Correct. And especially, it's paying attention to, all these Facebook pages and the comments that are on there, not paying attention to them, actually totally ignoring them and paving our own path. And not paying attention to that at all, because, I love being in the collective. Absolutely love it because it's like-minded people and it's positive. It's a positive environment. One thing that I've strived for myself personally is not feeding into anything that is put out there, because, yes, we're in a tough economy, but people are still spoiling themselves. People are still spending. We don't go to a market expecting sales. We go there, we create connections, and we show them our product. And that's it. There's no expectation whatsoever.
It's a different shift in energy, isn't it?
It really is.
I've spoken to many different candle makers, as you can imagine, and there is this general consensus that if I don't make sales at a market, or if I'm not making sales online, that my business isn't working. And in some ways, yes, that's true, but it is about forming those connections, that community that you're building, which will then pay off in time. We live in a society where we want a quick win, we want instant gratification, we want people to, spend millions of dollars in our business because that's what we want for our business. But it's about giving value first and being able to show up in your business and in your journey in a way that is authentic and genuine to you. And you're both doing that so beautifully. And that's one of the reasons, only one of the reasons, many reasons why you're having such beautiful success.
Definitely. And I'll just touch on that. Our website still doesn't do much, and the majority of it is repeat customers. Like, we got an order today and it was a customer from Sunday that purchased on Sunday.
And it's now Tuesday.
And now it's Tuesday.
2 days later.
This is a customer that drove up for the day from the ACT.
Oh, wow.
Now, mind you, prior to the Sunday, we didn't know them, but again, a couple of days later, and they've placed an online order. So it's that connection. Again, we spent probably a good 15, 20 minutes talking with these guys, and creating that connection is worthwhile.
Yeah. So don't be too worried if your website doesn't have 50 orders a day like you see on social media.
Yes, in fact, it's probably better to unfollow all the accounts that are leaving you drained and giving you that comparisonitis and only focusing on your path. Like you said, Gina, like, don't worry about what's happening in the Facebook groups. Don't worry about what everyone else is experiencing. Just focus on what you can do, what you can control, how you can grow your business, and how you can grow yourself as a person.
100%. I can tell you, we follow one other candle maker, and it's because they came up and introduced themselves to us at a market. And Beck is absolutely beautiful, and she's probably the only candle maker that we follow.
Yeah,
We don't sit there and follow and compare, because I personally think that's one of the worst things that you can do, because you fall into that trap of, oh, I'm not doing this, I'm not doing that, maybe I should launch this product, let me do this like them. They've got more followers than I do. Don't worry about all of that.
Mm-hmm. Just focus on what you can control. Everything else is noise. Everything else is a distraction. Everything else is a Netflix flow, next Netflix show.
It is. It is. Do you know what? When you become aligned within yourself, I think everything will just fall into place.
Absolutely. 100% I agree with that. And it's the little wins that you have along the way that build up into even bigger wins. But if you don't show gratitude for the small steps, you won't get to the big ones. And I feel like what you guys have done is you've just gone, as you said, like you've gone hard, but in an authentic, genuine way. But you've kind of like collapsed the journey of, like, bringing it closer together than someone who might be, going through more of a slow burn, pardon the pun. You've really amplified and lit up where you want to be and what you want to achieve. And it's taken you to great lengths, which is very inspiring.
Thank you. We do, I have to admit, what's the question that I ask you every night, George?
What am I grateful for?
Oh,
Every day I've had a gratitude practice for years, but every day, at least 3 things that we're grateful for that day.
that's beautiful. That's really sweet. How would you define success, and do you feel successful so far?
I'd like to think we do, based on one, obviously our sales, but just in general, in a 12-month stretch, to be working at the level that we're at, considering where we started and how we started, it's chalk and cheese, so to speak. So yes, even just from a business standpoint, for what we started with and how we started to what we are now, we poured in batches of 2 and 2 for one fragrance. And when I say that, it's 2 mediums and 2 larges. So we poured all the 4 candles for one fragrance. That's where we started. And now we're at a point where we're talking about pouring a box of larges where it's 48 jars just for that same fragrance, just to be able to make sure we have the level of stock we need for 1 month.
Because we sell 15 in one day.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Just of that one fragrance. So it's, from that standpoint alone, that's unreal if you ask me. But
yeah.
So is that a yes? You feel successful?
yes, I do feel.
Get to the point, George.
Sorry, I was kind of
No, it's beautiful.
I apologize, but I was reminiscing, looking back at where we started again.
Oh, I love that. I love that you just went on your own little tangent there. It was beautiful. Yeah. What about you, Gina? How do you define success, and do you feel successful?
I definitely feel successful. I don't think I can define success. It's in the everyday moments for me. I think the most successful that I have felt is comparing month 11 in business to month 1, which was month 11 in business was October this year, and it was our biggest month ever. We worked for that, but I think that was not the most successful that I felt, but I think the moment that I realized how successful we actually are.
There's so much more beautiful success coming your way, guys, and I can't wait to continue to follow your journey and to see just how much you're going to explode across the candle making world. But before we say goodnight, I do, of course, have my favorite part of the podcast, where I ask all my guests 3 questions relating to candles. So I'll ask each of these 3 questions, but I want answers from both of you. What is your favorite candle fragrance?
So for me, it's always been from the get-go French vanilla bourbon. So,
mine at the moment, I've just changed. We're allowed to change.
Yes.
My favorite at the moment is pink water lily.
Oh, beautiful.
Fresh and full and summery, and just, there's something about it.
Question number 2 is, what do you love about candles?
I love the ambience. I love how it can inspire like bring great memories out for people. And I love how just for me, it's like a sign of just relaxing.
You touched on what I was going to say, but it's a sign of calm. If you're enjoying your bath or you enjoy reading a book, you're laying in bed, you've got your flickering light going off next to you with your candle burning. It's just a sense of calm. And again, like Gina said, fragrances can bring back fun memories. They can also bring back memories that aren't so fun. But at the end of the day, it's hopefully the good memories that are coming with it. And that's what you want. You want something that's going to bring joy to your life, not something that's going to bring you down.
One of the beautiful things about being a candle maker is that the candles you're creating will be burnt to create new memories for the customers, like for your customers. And then when they repurchase the same scent, it will remind them of the first memory created again with your candle. And I love that it has this beautiful repeat flow-on effect that your candles will help create new memories for your customers.
Yeah.
And the last question is, what is one piece of advice you'd like to give to other candle makers?
Put out the outside noise. Don't listen to it, because there's always going to be outside noise. There's always going to be somebody telling you can't, or you shouldn't, or that's not possible. Not that we've been rather cryptic in a way with where we've been talking about our success and which level we're at and everything and touching bases on it. But at the end of the day, if you're leading in the right direction, you see your sales going in the right direction, the growth in your account is in the right direction, then just continue following it. Go with what works. Maybe try something new if it's slowed down, and push on. There's no harm with failing. At the end of the day, we've all failed. We've had our weekends where we expected to do really well and we didn't. At the end of the day, the following weekend generally makes up for it. So just push on and don't be shy.
Beautiful.
My piece of advice would be decide what you want from your business. We decided from the start that we wanted a business, not a hobby. We wanted to go all in. Granted, our first 7 months were like 2 weekends here, 3 weekends a month. We were a bit in and out, and it was still great. And then we decided to go all in, and that's where we experienced our biggest growth. Decide what you want and go for it, and don't let anyone stop you.
It is absolutely a decision to go all in. And there is this fear, I feel, from many candle makers I speak to, where they've got these big goals, these big dreams, these big aspirations, but there's a fear holding them back from going all in, like you've said. But what you guys have done is you've gone, this is what we want, this is what's going to happen, and you're seeing the success of that decision, which is, as I said earlier, very inspiring.
Yeah, I think, and I was having this conversation with one of my friends this morning, we're very scared in Australia to discuss our successes. Oh, puppy syndrome. We've got to get rid of that. Why can't you discuss your biggest, wildest dreams with your friends or whoever it may be? Why can't you have a goal of creating $1 million business? That's my goal for the next 5 years. Our goal. Million plus, our goal. Yeah, just like George said, get rid of the noise.
Such beautiful advice and such wisdom from you both. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for being on this podcast tonight and for sharing your journey, your story, and your goals and dreams with us. For any of the listeners that would like to get in touch, where can we find you online?
So all of our socials are at Aretii Naturals. So it's Aretii Naturals on Instagram, on Facebook, on TikTok, which we don't use that often. We only have 45 followers on Facebook. Or they can email areetinaturals@outlook.com.
Amazing.
Thank you so much for having us.
Not a problem. And if anyone wants to get in touch with you, I will put your links in the show notes so that they can click through and say hello.
Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate you having us.
Thank you, my friend, for listening to this episode. Check out the show notes for all the links mentioned throughout the conversation, and please subscribe to the podcast so you don't miss any future episodes. And if you're feeling inspired, I would love it if you would write a review for the podcast and give a 5-star rating. Thank you so much and have a beautiful day.